G'day, my name's Zach. I've been running some garden lessons at a local primary school as part of my permaculture course last year. Before we went away for the school holidays, we put in some plants and stuff that was going to be like long term, over the summer, manage itself, not require a whole lot of input. I haven't been here for about 6 weeks, and I've just come back to see how everything's going. So everything's going really well. Like, we've had a lot of rain going on. We had a couple of little floods up and down the valley in the last couple of weeks, but coming back, I'm really happy with how everything's going. So this is a little garden bed we put in, running along the fence line here. This was just a path before, but we threw in a bunch of stuff along the fence, some cucumbers and some sweet potato that can use it as trellis. We threw in a bunch of yacon, which is it's like a potato apple, which is great for the kids. They love it. But we really wanted to utilise this existing fence instead of needing to put in trellis or anything, extra to grow. For things to grow up, we thought we would just use the fence that's already here, and because it's double-sided, so we've got a garden bed that's gone in along this side, and then next year we'll put in a little garden bed along the front side here. So that reflects our permaculture principle of integrate instead of segregate. So we're integrating our garden into the existing landscape features. Alright, we have some tomatoes that are doing amazingly well considering the rain. Some of them are starting to split. You can see in there, a bit too much rain, but some of them are doing really well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these ones that have burst, a couple here before, and I'm just going to take them over to this other, it's more of a wild space that we're kind of starting to push into. So over on the other side of the fence, this is a green manure. This hill was covered in weeds, so we kind of hacked up the soil and threw out some green manure seeds to take over this space, and then we'll come along and we'll mow this back in a couple of weeks, and we'll turn all this into the soil, and that's going to break down and add a whole bunch of nitrogen to the soil for us. But over here, I'm just going to throw out these tomatoes and just let these seeds come up out in this wild space, which we're going to be turning into a food forest. You can see we threw in some sugarcane and some sweet potato and things that can just kind of spread and take over. We had thrown in some pumpkins, but I can't see them. They may not have survived the rains. So rather than wasting those seeds or even putting them in the compost, we can throw them straight out here. They become a little bit of food for the chickens, and hopefully we'll see some seedlings start to pop up in the next few weeks. So that reflects the principle of produce no waste. And this was a no-dig bed that we made not even 6 months ago, I think like 3 months ago. And it's already pretty much broken down. If we take a look in here, it's amazing in this climate. We're in subtropical New South Wales, so in about 3 months, so this was up to the brim before. In about 3 months we've seen this soil break down halfway, and it's ready to get topped up again. Everything in here is doing pretty well. Needs a little bit of love. The eggplants, not super happy, but that's our principles of produce no waste and integrate rather than segregate. So we've taken a compost pile and a garden bed, and we've put them together so we can compost in situ and build the soil for the garden bed and grow things in it at the same time. Over here is a bit more green manure that we put in this top bed. That's ready to go in as well. And we've got the corn's doing pretty well. That feels like it's ready to be harvested. We've got some beans underneath. That was our little guild there. We didn't have the squash, but the beans underneath the corn. The strawberries, I think we need to move these. They haven't been super productive, and what they do produce isn't very tasty. So that's the principle of apply self-regulation and accept feedback and observe and interact. So we can see that the strawberries have been really, reasonably healthy, but they haven't produced very tasty fruit to this point, and they're not really ideally suited to this location. So I think we might move them into the food forest and just let them kind of spread out and go wild as well. Seeing as they're not a particularly tasty variety or plant at this point, I don't think we want to give them a high value place in the garden. So again, we've got more corn. That's doing really well. Might pick some of that actually. This bed, our dill did pretty well. We had some peas and some kale, not doing so well. Parsley's looking okay. Someone's been harvesting that, obviously. And we've got one pumpkin vine that's done okay. Nothing on it though. Now what I found at home was that some of these flowers were not opening particularly well. So we were growing these really big, luscious zucchini plants, and we got the little flowers, which we can see happening here. So we got our female flowers, but they just weren't getting pollinated, and so they just rot on the plant and they don't do anything. And what I noticed was that these flowers were not very open, so that the pollinators couldn't really get in there. And so what I did is I picked the male flower here. I'll see if I can find a female. I'll take the top off him. And then I need a female that's ready to go. Hasn't really opened. But take the top off the female flower, and then just going to hand pollinate in there. Not sure if that one's ready, so we'll see. Would work if this flower is a little bit more open. And just rub some pollen between those two flowers, and we got really good results at home straight away. The zucchinis took off, and we got some fruit off them, which was fantastic. So that again, that's observe and interact, watching what's going on with the plants, and then doing something about it. So rather than going, oh, these plants are just no good, it's like, okay, well, these plants just need a bit of help, but we're probably not going to save seed off them, because they've got this flower that's not really opening, which isn't super helpful. All right, what else we got over here? Oh, we got lots of these cucumbers. They're looking nice. Good to go. When we keep picking them, otherwise the vine's going to stop producing. And then over here, this is our little seedling bench that we've made up, because we potted up all these seedlings, and between the sun and the rain, they all died really, really quickly. So we built this bench and little shade structure. This is mostly recycled. I think the shade cloth was somewhere new. These are old fence panels that the school had lying around, and this is bamboo from one of the students' houses that we've just made a little thing over the top of it with. And so next year we're going to have, this year in fact, we're going to have lots of lots of seedlings that we can sell from the front of the school, because we don't really have enough space at this point until we really push into this wild food forest out here. But that's the primary school garden, and kind of what we've been doing, and just trying to work with permaculture principles on a really small scale, and talking to the kids about it a lot, and explaining everything we do, and we just talk about the same thing every week, and they really get it, which was kind of surprising, but they have really good conversation and really good understanding around it. Anyway, thanks for watching.